Good grief. Why do they never go in for me?
Hello everybody, I'm back again at last with another video. I know it's been weeks since I last did one, and I said I was going to keep up with these and I haven't, so there we go. So, vinyl watch time. Now, I have absolute ridiculous backlog of records. Now what I've been doing is with the vinyl watches is first off, if I've been getting enough records recently, I've been doing vinyl watches as I get them. I've still got a horrendous amount of records to plough through, and we're going back to a batch of records I bought in one day in Exeter about, I think it was last summer, maybe even last spring, I'm not sure, but I've had these a while. I hadn't played them till fairly recently, just ridiculous. I guess I was just making hay while the sun shone, I guess, because lately it's been harder to get vinyl. CDs, completely different story, but vinyl's been much harder to get recently. So here we go with another eclectic mix of records, and I bought these all on one day. Right mix as per usual. So I'm going to start off with probably what would have been the best, most interesting. So I got this. So these are all, I don't know, quid or so. So this is Heavenly Bodies. So this was released on Third Mind Records, and what this is, it's called Celestial. Now, if you think that this is kind of a 4AD inspired album cover, and this gives you an idea of what is contained within, then you'd be absolutely right. So this is a band formed by two people who performed on at least one of this Mortal Cause albums, with a couple of members a couple of ex-members of Dead Can Dance who were active on 4AD. So we've got real 4AD alumni album here. Vocals by Caroline Seaman, with saxophone and didgeridoo by Tony Waria. Sorry if I've mangled that. And you've got James Pinker and Scott Roger from Dead Can Dance. Yeah, this is definitely along the lines of a 4AD band. It's really quite pretty music. It's actually quite gorgeous music. Vocals are really good. It's really well put together, well written. There's a lovely, I mean, that is such a 4AD label. Really, it should have been released on 4AD. I don't know why it wasn't, but it's a really good listen. That kind of ethereal music. It's really good stuff. I mean, this was a complete blind buy, but I looked at the cover and I thought, right, well, I'm going to pick that up. Top-notch stuff. Really good. Now, I remember just before I got this next one, I was looking for covers, really interesting cover versions. And one of the covers I picked up was Ella Fitzgerald doing Sunshine of Your Love. And I remember just listening to that maybe a couple of weeks before this turned up. And this is the album, Sunshine of Your Love, by Ella Fitzgerald. And the cover of Sunshine of Your Love is amazing. If you get a chance, listen to it, because it is absolutely brilliant. Stonking great soul version of Sunshine of Your Love with I'm not sure what kind of brass it is, maybe some kind of brass section performing the main riff to the song. Brilliant vocal performance by Ella. Absolutely fantastic. Got one of these fold out sleeves. There we go. With a picture of Ella there. First two tracks, so she does a version of Hey Jude, which is on a par with Wilson Pickett's version, I think. It's really good as well. You've then got more standard fare for her, like more jazzy kind of slightly soul songs. But this was worth getting for Sunshine of Your Love. Absolutely fantastic version on Polydor, with a stock Polydor label there. Yeah, if you see this, pick it up for that version, because it is a stonking version of that song. Absolutely fabulous. of them down there. Right, what should we go with next? Let's go with this one. So, if I see a Slade album, it's not that often, but I'm going to pick it up. And I managed to pick up this copy of Rogues Gallery by Slade. And it's not really a Slade album. I think even Dave Hill has gone on record as saying there's not much Slade actually on here. It sounds more like a mid-80s hard rock record than anything else. Big production, nothing remarkable. It's got All Join Hands on it with the hit off it. It's just such an unremarkable album. It's such a shame. It could have been anybody. It didn't sound like Slade at all, which is such a shame. This was from, when was it released? Has it got a date on it? A year on it? 85 on that stock black RCA. Yeah, it really didn't enhance their reputation in the mid-80s at all. This came after, I think, the amazing Kamikaze Syndrome, is it? Is that the one with Run Run Away and My Oh My, or whatever it's called? There are at least 2 attempts at writing another Run Run Away on here, and they're both inferior. So this is kind of a bit of a disappointing album, really, which is a shame, because it's Slade. I also picked up a really good compilation. I really enjoyed listening to this. So a while ago, I picked up a compilation of Mersey beat, like bands from the early 60s from Liverpool. And it had all the usual people like Jerry and the Pacemakers and Freddie and the Dreamers. But most of the tracks were re-recordings, and I didn't realise this. I think I only paid 50p for it anyway. But then I saw this, and I thought, right, I'm going to get that. This one is actual original versions, which is much better. So this is hits from the Mersey era. This is released by Reader's Digest and EMI on a real stock label. But this was a great listen. Track listing is superb. It's got, how many Jerry tracks? It's got 2, 3, 4, 3 Jerry and the Pacemakers songs. How Do You Do It? Ferry Across the Mersey, and I Like It. It's got Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas, their Lennon and McCartney covers. A couple of Freddie and the Dreamers, got Swinging Blue Jeans, Foremost. Bizarrely, it's got Peter and Gordon on there, just because I think Lennon and McCartney wrote it, World Without Love. But yeah, it's a really good compilation. Also got Lily the Pink, just because they came from Liverpool. Why? I guess this was in the EMI, so they didn't have people like the Searchers on it, which would have, if you'd knocked off a couple of like Peter and Gordon and the Scaffold and put a couple of the Searchers on there, like Needles and Pins or something like that, would have been an absolutely superlative compilation. But it's a decent amount of cover notes, quite interesting read that. Really good compilation, so I was well chuffed to pick this up, especially because it's got the original version of Good Golly Miss Molly by Swinging Blue Jeans, which I think is fabulous. And Ferry Across the Mersey, they actually play it on the ferry as you go across the Mersey, which I thought was hilarious when I did that in the early 90s. But there you go, that was great. Always like to pick up a little bit of Oscar Peterson. I really like jazzy piano, especially instrumental stuff. I really like it. So this is a reissue of an album called Something Warm. This is originally released in '67. It's a 1980 reissue, and it's got the Verve label. So I think I showed another one quite recently with the Verve label. So this is lovely, absolutely lovely. And I'm trying to fade it. There we go. Great stuff. Love a bit of Oscar Peterson. Yeah, my jazz, yeah, I like a little bit, but this is great. Gorgeous soundtrack. I've never seen this movie. I've been ever since I got this, I've been trying to see if I can find a copy on DVD. But this is the Morricone soundtrack album for The Mission, starring De Niro and Jeremy Irons. Lovely stuff, absolutely lovely soundtrack. Story of Jesuit missionaries in South America. I really do want to see this now I've listened to this. One day I will find a copy of it, because I've tried finding it to stream, but I can't find it anywhere. Real basic Virgin label, which I think they just stuck on soundtracks, because I've got the Betty Blue soundtrack and that's got exactly the same label, so not the most imaginative. Oh, for Pete's sake. Right, later. You know me, I'm trying to get records back in. What's next? Let's do the 10-inch. I did get one 10-inch, and this is a great 10-inch. This is the New Fads, or the New Fast Automatic Daffodils, which is surely one of the best band names ever. What a band name. So this is a limited edition 10-inch of These Foolish Things and Every Once in a While. Didn't come with the poster, but it's a real good dancey indie dance track on 10-inch. Yeah, I've played this a few times. I do like New Fads. A really good band. Real shame that they didn't get any more success, because they really should have had some. I picked this one up. This was another blind buy from the same batch. I had to pick this up just because of the cover. I mean, it's bonkers. So this is Pan on Big Cat Records, who I think was Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machines label, I think. Weren't they on Big Cat at one point? So this is a band that sounds like they belong in some sort of, you know, the sort of festival you get in a local park, and there's a few local bands that get slung on, and you might have a sort of a half a bottle of cider or something, you lay back and chill out to the sounds, and this is basically a band that sounds like that. Bit dancey, bit groovy, bit soul-y in a bad way. Very plain album label. That one's not so bad. At least it's got a custom label. That's quite amazing. There's a singer on here, female singer, who I think is absolutely just awful as a lead vocalist. She's as a backing vocalist, so when she's probably got a better voice than the male singer, but it's just a quality to her voice I really don't like. And it doesn't help that the tracks that she sings lead on are more jazz funky, whereas some of the other is quite, a lot of the tracks that the guy sings on here, don't know what their names are, doesn't say, it's probably on the inside. The tracks that the guy sings on are quite sort of, quite techno-y, funky, actually quite listenable. Has it got, don't know, it's got, oh hang on, all songs written by Pan. Pan is Danny, Doug, Greg, Hannah and Steve, but it doesn't say what they do, so I guess Hannah is the female vocalist. Danny is either, don't know. Some of it's really good, some of it isn't quite so good. Better when the female vocalist becomes a backing vocalist. They are much better tracks. But yeah, not bad. I wouldn't actually mind have seen these. I could just imagine them being on some fifth stage at Glastonbury in about 1992. That kind of band. So that's all right. Just round off with a couple of compilations I got. I had to pick this up for £1. 60s Mania. A ridiculous amount of 40 top 10 hits from the 60s, including an awful lot of number ones. So we've got, actually there's quite a lot of double up from the Mersey compilation. You've got Billy Drake Kramer on here, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Peter and Gordon's on here as well. But it's got some great tracks like Moody Blues, Go Now, Bend Me, Shake Me, Aiming Corner, Donovan's on here, The Move, Blackberry Way, Fire. What else we got in here? House of the Rising Sun's on here, Substitute, Tobacco Road, which is a fantastic song. San Francisco by Scott McKenzie. There's some really good stuff. There's some other stuff that I'm not particularly enamoured of. Oh, Here Comes the Night's on here. It's a really solid 60s compilation. Quite nicely presented for a Telstar. Is this Telstar? Yeah, it's Telstar. I'm not even going to get it out, but it's quite nicely presented for a Telstar record. Their gatefold sleeves seem to be a lot better when they seem to put a lot more effort into the gatefold sleeves. Just for those people who've never seen it, there's the Telstar label. 80s budget record label, churning out compilations like nobody's business. Basically cheap to license, make money. So there we go, 60s Mania. And the last one is a K-Tel classic, featuring edited versions of many rock classics as advertised on TV and radio. So this is British Gold. Now the track listing is fantastic. It's just such a shame that they are edited versions to cut down, because there's 20 tracks on here and there's no way that they could have fitted full versions. It would have had to have been a double. So you've got things like Hey Joe's on here, Sunshine of Your Love. It's quite nice running off with Sunshine of Your Love. White Shade of Pale in a really edited version. Get It On. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blackberry Way's on here again. Hush by Deep Purple, which is a really good song. Love that song. I'm just trying to think if I prefer the Cooler Shaker version. That's probably heresy, isn't it? Fire's on here again. Substitute. Is that one? Was that? Yeah, Substitute. So it's double up on that as well. But yeah, it's not bad. It's a brilliant track listing. Also available on cassette and 8-track. When was this released then? I'm not sure when it was released. Let me just check. Oh, well, I might as well show you. So there's that lovely brown label. I mean, only K-Tel would put brown on a label. Absolutely hideous. Doesn't actually say a date. There is no date on any of this. I'm guessing 70s. Guessing 70s. Oh, 75, there we go. 1975. And for records, for K-Tel compilation, it's in amazingly good condition considering it was released. What's that, 25, 45 years ago? 45 years old, there you go. Great stuff. So there we go. Yet another batch of mixed up, obscure and stuff that nobody else wanted, because it ended up in the charity shop and I got hold of it. So there we go. So thanks very much for joining me on that little Wodge, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I will see you all again soon. Thank you ever so much for watching, and see you soon. Bye.